Hello and welcome back to my video series on Python fundamentals, and this is the first video in module 5. Finally, we're in module 5 where we're going to talk about loops, loop control structures in Python. Okay, now a couple of videos back I told us we have three basic control structures. We have the sequential structure, the branch, and we also have the iterative, also called loop. So sequential is the first set of programs we got where they don't have any conditions, and also they don't have tasks that are meant to be repetitive. Even if they have tasks that are meant to be repetitive, we didn't actually write them in such a way. But in this video now we are going to be looking at tasks that are repetitive, and we're using the necessary tool that we are meant to use to help automate these tasks so that we don't have to repeat that set of code. Instead of that, we just write one particular section that is going to take care of this repetitive tasks and repeat it as much times as we want. Now in Python there are two kinds of loop. Generally we have the for loop and then we have the while loop. The for loop is also called a counted loop because whenever you're using a for loop, you should know how many times you want the loop to run. That's when you use a for loop. And then we also have the while loop. The while loop is also called a conditional loop because the while loop, when you're using that, you don't really know how many times you want this loop to run, but you just have a condition that must be satisfied for the loop to terminate. Now, one thing you have to notice, the while loop can also do the work of the for loop, but the for loop cannot do the work of the while loop. Okay, because in the while loop we are just, in fact, let me not ponder much on the while loop. When we get to that section, when we get to that video, we'll explain more on the while loop. So in this video we are going to see how the for loop is and how we can actually make use of it. Okay, so we'll move down to our IDE. As usual, we are using Jupyter Notebook as the IDE, and we are looking at for loop. Now the structure of the for loop, it has a structure. Now take note, the for loop is what you call, is an example of what you call a compound statement, because it's meant to encompass one or more lines. Okay, so that's why you call it a compound statement. So the structure we have the keyword for, then we have LCV. LCV simply means loop control variable. So that's a variable, which means you can use any name you want there. Any valid variable name can be used there. For LCV, in is another keyword. Then we have an iterable there. Okay, then you have a column. Then inside of this block, since it's a compound statement, you need to indent it. Okay, as usual, like we did for the if statement, and right, that's what we did there. So in here we have to have block of codes. So this is the structure of the for loop, so we are going to make use of it. Now the LCV can be anything, like I said initially. So let's see an example. So let's say ordinarily you want to write a program that is meant to repeat, say hello to somebody like 10 times or 5 times. Let's say 5 times. The sequential way of doing this is print hello, then you copy that, paste it 5 times, you run this. This is sequential way of doing things. What if you want it to be 10 times? I have to copy and paste this and paste it 10 times. If I want it to be 100 times, so you get the gist. You have to print this 100 times, and you don't want that to happen. You want a program that is just going to help do this with few lines of code. So basically, how do we do that? So for you to do that, what you have to do simply is to work with this structure. So we say for, so what's LCV? LCV, yeah, I want to use a variable, let's say I. Okay, so for I in now for the iterable, there are different kinds of iterable. If you remember from the last module, that's why we treated that one. In the last module we talked about range, lists, tuple, right? We also looked at dictionary. They are all iterables. Even set, they are iterables because you can form what you call an iterator from it. So I have a video on that. I'm going to link that video in the description section, so that you go through the video and see what I'm talking about. But whenever you have an iterable, it means there's a way you can extract the first item, you can extract the second item, you can extract the third item, you can transverse over it. That is general structure for iterables. So the iterable we can use here is going to be range. So remember, if you say range of 5, you're looking at values from 0 down to 4. So, and that's simply 5 times, right? So I'm saying, okay, I want to do something 5 times, and what do I want to do? I want to print hello. So we say when I is 0, go ahead, print hello. When I is 1, print hello. Up to when I is 4, still print hello. So that's going to do it 5 times. If you want this program to run 10 times, all you need to do is to change what's it called, the 5 to 10, and it's going to run 10 times. So let's make this 10, and then when you run this, it's going to run 10 times. So this is a program that is running 10 times. So it's trying to make us avoid the fact that if we wanted to print this 10 times, we would have copied and pasted this 10 times. Okay, but now 2 lines of code is actually doing the work. Now, since we have just one thing within the for loop, okay, just one item within the for loop, then we can even do this, make it to be on the same line, and that's still going to work out fine, because you have just one item in the for loop. Okay, so that's what we have, guys. That's the general structure of a for loop. So in the next video, we are going to see how we can use this for loop to solve some questions. Okay, so that's, guys, for this video. As usual, like and subscribe to the channel if it's helping in any way, and as usual, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.